Let me talk to you for a second. You met her, and she's dangerous, isn't she? Beautiful, sharp, the chemistry is a wildfire, and for the first time in a long time, you let yourself think that this might be the one. But there's a splinter in your mind, a quiet, dark question you keep shoving down, hoping it'll just go away. Her past. Who was he? Who were they? You tell yourself it doesn't matter. You swallow the blue pill lie that the past is the past. But that cold knot in your stomach when she mentions a memory you weren't a part of. That's not insecurity, man. That is your ancient biological warning system screaming that you are marching blindfolded through a minefield. You think you're being progressive and mature, but you're actually volunteering for a program of slow-motion psychological torture that ends with you broken and her bored. They will lie to you. Your friends will tell you to just get over it. So-called experts will diagnose you with retroactive jealousy, pathologizing your sanity. They want you to believe your gut instinct is a flaw, a weakness to be overcome. They are selling you psychological slavery. Forget what you've been told. Her past isn't some romantic story you need to accept. It is the single most important intelligence report you will ever receive on a potential partner. It's not about judgment, it's about forensics. It's about predicting the future. They are terrified of men who understand this. I'm here to make you one of them. So let's talk about the game. Because before you can win, you have to understand exactly how you've been programmed to lose. There are 4 paths of weakness that 99% of men stumble down when confronted with a woman's past. These are the traps laid for you by a society that wants you soft, compliant, and easy to control. The first path is the cool guy charade. This is the man who pretends it doesn't bother him. She mentions an ex, and he gives that tight, forced smile. Oh, that's cool. The past is the past, right? All while a hot spike of acid is twisting in his gut. He thinks he's projecting confidence. He thinks he's showing her how secure and evolved he is. What he's actually showing her is that he's a liar. A woman's intuition is a finely tuned instrument, and she can smell inauthenticity from a mile away. She doesn't hear your words, she feels your energy. When your fake smile doesn't match the tension in your jaw, she doesn't register confidence. She registers fraud. She sees a man so terrified of his own genuine feelings that he has to put on a puppet show. And a woman cannot, will not, ever respect a man who isn't even honest with himself. The second path is even more pathetic, the Grand Inquisitor. This is the man who turns his relationship into a courtroom drama. How many? What did you do with him? Where did you go? Was he bigger than me? He peppers her with questions, digging and digging. Thinking that if he can just get all the information, he can finally put the ghosts to rest. But what he's really doing is broadcasting his insecurity on a 50,000-watt transmitter. Every question is a plea for her to soothe him, to tell him he's better, to manage his emotions for him. This instantly flips the polarity. He becomes the child, and she becomes the mother. And a woman can love her child, but she cannot be sexually attracted to him. Worse, you teach her that the truth is a weapon that hurts you. So she learns to lie, she learns to omit. You aren't getting information, you are training her to deceive you to protect herself from your emotional incontinence. Then there's the third failure, the retroactive savior. This guy hears a story about a bad ex, a painful breakup, a moment of trauma in her past, and he sees his chance. He puts on his cape and decides his mission is to heal her. He didn't appreciate you, he says, but I will. He becomes her therapist, her cheerleader, the emotional janitor hired to clean up the messes other men left behind. He thinks this service will earn him her love and loyalty. He is wrong. He will earn her pity, he will earn her gratitude, but he will never earn her raw animal desire. You cannot utility your way into a woman's panties. By becoming her healer, you exit the category of lover and enter the category of resource. She'll cry on your shoulder about the men who excited her, while you foolishly believe your kindness makes you one of them. And the final, most toxic path, the resentful punisher. This is the man who does decide to accept her past but can't live with his decision. He bottles it up. And then, in the heat of an argument about finances or where to go for dinner, the poison comes out. He uses her past as a weapon, a tactical nuke to win a fight. He makes a sarcastic jab, a passive-aggressive comment, a cruel remark designed to shame her. This is the ultimate act of weakness. It shows her he is not a king in control of his domain, but a prisoner rattling the bars of his own mental jail. It's psychological terrorism. The moment he does this, he evaporates every ounce of trust she ever had in him. She now knows that he is not her protector, but a potential threat, and her biology, the ancient programming that seeks security above all else, will immediately begin to see him as an enemy. Every one of these paths leads to the same place, her losing respect, her losing attraction, and you losing your mind. They are the strategies of the weak. Now let's talk about the strategy of the strong. All right, enough with the weak strategies that have been shoved down your throat. If you want to handle this like a man of value, a man who commands respect, you operate by a different code. This isn't about feelings, it's a framework, an operating system for masculine authority. It starts with one non-negotiable truth. The past is not the past, it is the prologue. Stop listening to her words. Her words are marketing. They are a story she tells herself and you. You need to become a student of patterns. People don't change, they just become more of who they already are under pressure. So you don't ask for a body count. That's amateur hour. It's a useless, ego-driven number that tells you nothing. You ask questions that reveal patterns. Not how many, but how long. Not what did you do, but why did it end? A woman with a history of 5 chaotic 6-month relationships that all ended in a dramatic explosion is a fundamentally different creature than a woman who had 2 5-year relationships. One has a pattern of instability and likely a victim mentality. The other has a demonstrated capacity for long-term pair bonding. Your job is not to be her judge. It is to be the chief strategist for your own life. You are simply gathering intelligence to determine if she is an asset or a liability to your future. I had a client, an engineer named Mark. Smart guy, logical but naive. He fell for a woman who was electric, but her relationship history was a 5-alarm fire. A string of short, intense flings with unstable men. She fed him the line you've all heard. That was the old me. They were the problem. I'm ready for a good guy now. And because he wanted to believe it, he ignored the mountain of data screaming at him. He thought his stability could be the antidote to her chaos. What happened? Within a year, she grew bored of the stability she claimed to want. She manufactured drama, accused him of being no fun, and eventually cheated on him with a guy who mirrored the exact pattern of her past. Mark learned the hard way. You cannot build a stable kingdom on unstable ground. The pattern always wins. This is why you are a selector, not a corrector. You are a king choosing a queen, not a therapist fixing a broken toy. You gather the data, you see the pattern, and you make a simple binary choice. Is this person compatible with the empire I am building? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you walk, cleanly, no emotion. It's a business decision. But if the answer is yes, if you vet her character and decide she is worthy of joining you on your mission, then the next phase begins. And the rule is absolute. The door closes forever. The moment you make your decision, her past ceases to be a topic. It is sealed. It is done. You never ask about it again. You never allow it to be brought up again. If she tries to test you to talk about an ex, you shut it down. Not with anger, which is weakness, but with cold, indifferent finality. We're not talking about him. That's in the past, and it's staying there. That has nothing to do with us. You must communicate with absolute certainty that your present reality and the future you are creating are infinitely more important and interesting than any ghost from her history. A client of mine, David, mastered this. He was dating a sharp, beautiful woman who was used to getting under men's skin. One night at dinner, she casually mentioned a trip to Paris her ex had taken her on. It was a clear test, a little jab to see if he'd get insecure, if he'd start asking questions, if he'd try to compete. A lesser man would have taken the bait. David let her finish, took a sip of his drink, and without breaking eye contact said, "Sounds like a nice memory. Now, about the scuba certification I'm getting us for our trip to the Caymans. I need to know if you're serious about learning." He didn't just ignore the test, he steamrolled it. He rendered her past irrelevant by presenting a future with him that was far more compelling. In that moment, he wasn't competing with a ghost, he was demonstrating that he operated in a different reality altogether. His reality. Her primal brain registered that as pure, unshakable, masculine frame. Her attraction for him exploded. This is the ultimate secret. None of this works unless your life is anchored in something bigger than her. If she is your sole purpose, your only source of happiness, then her past will always be a terrifying threat to your fragile world. But if you are a man on a mission, if you are obsessed with your business, your fitness, your purpose, you simply don't have the mental space to worry about some guy from 3 years ago. Your focus is on conquest, on building, on becoming. She isn't the center of your universe. She is a welcome and valued passenger on your rocket ship. This is what underpins it all. A woman is biologically wired to be attracted to a man's trajectory. When you are consumed by your mission, you are pure trajectory. Your powerful forward momentum becomes the gravitational center of the relationship. It pulls her into your orbit and away from the ghosts of her past. You're not trying to beat her exes. You're making them irrelevant. You're not fighting a battle over her history. You're winning the war for her future by making it one she is desperate to be a part of. So you stand at a crossroads, and there are only 2 paths. Down one path is the man you've been trained to be, the archeologist. You can spend your life digging through the ruins of her past, obsessing over ghosts, collecting artifacts of your own pain. You can live in that prison of retroactive jealousy, letting your imagination be a terrorist in your own mind. You will become the resentful, insecure man who suffocates her with his weakness, and she will eventually leave you. Not because of her past, but because you were too small to build a future. Or you can choose the other path, the path of the architect, the man who vets with ruthless precision, chooses with unshakable authority, and then leads with a vision so powerful that the past becomes a forgotten country. He doesn't have time to look backward because he is consumed with building an empire. He doesn't fear the men who came before. He makes them irrelevant footnotes in the story he is writing. The choice is yours, and you are making it right now, with every thought you entertain. Are you the curator of her museum, or the king of your shared kingdom? Stop investigating her history and start building your legacy. Be the man she fears losing, not the one she pities staying with.